So every company is actually struggling with agent deployment, not because people don't know how to deploy agents, but because they don't know how to kind of measure whether it's working or not. Which is why I thought it'd be very interesting to talk to Shashank about this. Shashank is the founder of Noveum AI. It's an Evals company, to simply put it. Before we get started with 5 interesting questions of today, Shashank, do you want to take a minute to explain people what Evals is?
So people are building all sorts of AI agents to do all sorts of automations right now. This could be like a chatbot,
Yeah.
or this could be an agent that processes insurance, or this could be an agent that understands what a doctor is saying in the ICU and makes actions after it. So now these agents are sort of non-deterministic in the way that they can take decisions based on the input that has been given to them and then apply and do some stuff after it for that in production. Now, how do we know that the agents are doing what they're supposed to do in production? Like if a customer is talking to an agent, how do we make sure that the answer that the agent has given to them is valid or accurate? So for that scenario, evals came into picture. Now there's no like real proper organic way that everybody doing evals in the same way. There are multiple ways people are doing evals. The first simplest way is with three variables: input, output, and expected. So the agent is given an input, and the engineer or whoever has designed the eval has told you this is the expected output. And then they look at the agent, what is the output of that given agent, and they try to match it. That's like the very basic way of doing eval. The second way is that you ask a different LLM to go through the whole agent, what it has done, and then score it on specific metrics. This could be like, is has the task been completed? Has the customer query been resolved? So this whole area is now known as evals right now together.
And is this just about being non-deterministic, or there are deeper architectural like changes in production is why we also need evals?
Non-deterministic is one part of it as well. See, non-deterministic part of AI is the superpower of AI, which means that your agent, whatever you're doing, is able to do a lot of things that you might not have thought of when we are coding that agent. For example, in support, right? So customers can ask a million different things. You don't know about that. And that is the beauty of this non-deterministic nature, that you don't have to write code for every single scenario, right? That is the first part. The second part that what we have realized is that the agent is more than just the LLM. The LLM is basically the 10% of the entire agent. 90% is still engineering. Like you will have a database call or an API call or a RAG call or a context is being edited or other kind of things being taken care of it. But yes, the non-deterministic part of the LLM on what it actually does is the reason why you need evals and why you need LLM as a judge kind of thing for these evals.
Is that still an industry standard for subjective evals, or are there better ways to do it?
I don't think there are better ways to do it. See, it depends on the agent itself, what it's supposed to do and what you are trying to do and how it relates to the business metrics. From what I see right now, LLM as a judge, if it's designed well, engineered well, it works amazingly well. Like you have very good actionable evals that tell you exactly what you need to know.
No, so objective evals, I get it. Objective evals with ground truth and like you're explaining. I'm saying when it comes to subjective evals like marketing copies, where there could be bias, like I don't know if
Hmm.
LLM as the final judge can is that it, or there should be further innovation in subjective evals is what I'm trying to ask.
There has been there. So, for example, like you mentioned about marketing, right? Now, in marketing, somebody is asked to make a copy about something. Now, how do you judge it? Like as a human, depending on your level of experience, you can judge, okay, how good is the copy? But it's kind of always subjective, even in the real world, without using AI. It's a human. Now, how do we make these evals better? Is that we ask the LLM to judge on a very specific criteria. And we ask 5 different evals to judge on 5 different criterias and use that basically. So, for example, we'll ask one LLM to judge the marketing copy on the brand parameters. Like, has my brand mentioned in a correct way? And the second, we can judge it on the language itself. Is the language professional or not, depending on what the brand wants it to do. Third, we can judge it on a different metric. So, this is the next innovation, that instead of using one
Yes.
LLM
Hmm.
to ask
Hmm.
everything in one go. We don't do that. We ask it to judge on very specific criteria and give a score that we can measure as well.
Yeah, like we have right now a bench of judiciary, right? There's no one judge. Like even in our system as humans, we have 5 different perspectives, and the judge and a jury decides, and then you get a final thing, right? So A multi-judge system is what I'm trying. You're saying that should be the next
Yes.
exploration.
Yeah.
Next question, agent health. I don't see anyone talking about it because everyone's still busy, like first understanding what and how should they deploy an agent. So no one's checking on the health and welfare, but you have a
Yeah.
perspective there. I want to know that.
Yes. Okay. I'll tell you the scenario that, so we talk to a lot of customers every day, right? In all sorts of field. It's kind of crazy how what people are doing right now in productions, that they have these agents doing all sort of stuff and they have no visibility. I'll tell you what happens right now in big enterprises everywhere. They have these agents, they have tested them really well, and they have deployed this. These agents are being used by 10,000 or even 100,000 people as well. One or two AI engineers go through the logs afterwards
Hmm.
and check if the agent has done his job or not. That is the current things that are happening, and it is very, very scary
Hmm.
to have that. So based on these things, a lot of companies are not able to take their agents to production. They
Right.
are
Yeah.
scared. It will ruin their
Especially
reputation,
health, defense,
health.
all of it. Yeah.
We have a customer that we are helping right now. They have a very critical AI agent. What it does is it helps doctors basically and nurses in managing ICUs in some ways. And they don't have evals right now. Like they agent, like a human basically, they need to have a human in the loop right now. That's how they're solving the issue right now at the moment. But that
Hmm.
doesn't make the whole system automated. That doesn't solve the problem. That
Right.
is not the promised land that we were all supposed to see, which is that AI agents taking over a lot of
Yeah.
these annoyingly repeatable work that can be automated now. But yes, agent health is a big thing right now, and that is like there was an MIT study which said 95% of AI pilots are failing, and this is one of the
Hmm.
major reasons of that. The agents need to be maintained. Like you build an agent, all good, it works right now, but
Hmm.
you need to first monitor it, what it is doing in production, what is it replying to your customers, and people are going to start hacking it as well. Like
Hmm.
almost every customer agent right now that is out there, even the one that we have built out, people do all sorts of stuff with it. Like they
Hmm.
do 2+2, or they'll
Hmm.
do red teaming or hacking it. Then the next problem is that the every new month a new model comes out.
Hmm.
It's a very good thing actually. Problem is that you need to keep upgrading your agent, or your agent is not getting smarter and you're overpaying by a large amount as well. I'll tell you the surprising thing. When GPT-5 came out, right? GPT-5 is not more
Hmm.
expensive than GPT-3 or GPT 3.5. It's actually cheaper than them.
Hmm.
That is the counterintuitive way of thinking, that all the new models that are coming out, they are 50x to 100x smarter than the exact same model category a year ago. And there are also 50x to
Hmm.
100x cheaper as well. So if you
Hmm.
don't upgrade your model, you might be paying $1,000 instead of paying $10. That is the difference right now in 1 year. So you need to
Is
maintain
that
and update and do a
all?
lot of stuff.
Is agent health and welfare all about just this? Because how do you kind of also correct their degrading behavior? Or, like you're saying, the engineer only checks next morning when he wakes up if something has been kind of abused or misrepresented. Or
Hmm.
so, is welfare also got to do with training them how to behave?
Yes, you have to add a lot of guardrails that you would say. See, the right now the way that people go about, if the we need to prevent the agent from misbehaving instead of
Hmm.
trying to do something in the end. So right now, most of the hallucination happens because agents are told you have to do something in every scenario. Even if you
Ah.
don't know what to do, you still have to do something or give me an answer.
Hmm.
The guardrails that we help these companies develop is that when it is not sure what to do, don't do anything at all. Just stop it there. Just pull the plug. If that is enabled, then you stop a lot of abuse from happening already, right? That is the first part. The second part, which we realize, is that agents are getting really, really complex.
Yeah.
Like the agents that we have been analyzing have like 1,000 steps. Like the
Hmm.
agent starts and it goes in all the branches. So we visualize all the agents. It goes like 10 different branches. Each one has like 150 steps in there. It's impossible for a human to, and that is one run.
Correct.
And you have 1,000 runs of these agents per
Hmm.
day.
Hmm.
How are you going to understand what and this is right now. In near future, these agents are going to be so insanely complex, it will
Hmm.
be impossible for a human to even go through one agent at all.
Yeah,
That is happening.
Yeah, I was talking to someone who has built a voice AI company, and one of his customer was actually auditing the voice by listening to every audio, and I'm like, objective evals are important. Then there's no point, right? You have to keep 6 humans now to listen to the script and like fix it and all of that. And at what
Yeah.
point then this ever goes to the story we've been promised that AI will like be automated and take care of everything? So I hear you. But I met someone yesterday who invests in AI native companies, top tier VC fund. Background is ML. So he was like, all native AI companies are basically foundationally eval companies, right? Especially in India when you're
Hmm.
operating like at the scale. So, and considering you've built a service that you give to the enterprise, I wanted to know whether evals can really be outsourced, or how does this dynamic work when you
Hmm.
do not want to build your own eval system?
Yes. So we talk to companies and they tell us the same thing. Hey, why can't we build this in house? I said, yes, of course. Anything can be built in this world right now in house as well. But you have to build a whole infrastructure around it, right? Which is, first of all, you have to find a way to capture every decision being taken by your agent, which is already very complex, right? Every single database call, API call, and everything else in there. Then, second, you need to have a system which allows other LLMs to monitor everything and give you insights and alerting system and monitoring system. All those kind of things you have to build in house. That's the first part. Then the second part is that the way we help companies is that the evals that we have, they tie to a business metric. So we work. So we have these default metrics that we give them, like hallucination score, task progression score, task completion, all those things. But we also work with them to define their scorers, which tie up to their business metrics. For
Okay.
a customer support, this will be a resolution percentage. For other business scenarios, there are and we work with them to capture what the successful agent task completion looks like for them, and we try to build an eval for them for that specific thing. We have a lot of experience in building these evals for them, basically.
But
So
these
we
are not but these are not AI native companies. They are trying to have AI in their enterprise. It might be a FMCG company trying to have AI. That's fair. I think he's trying to say if a AI native company that's building an AI native solution, let's take a Frontier Labs, and you can't outsource evals. That's what he's trying to
see AI evals, right, are an engineering problem in the end,
have.
right? We need to involve the AI. So the company that we help, right, they are kind of they're AI native as well. So there's a company which only builds chatbots for other companies. That's it, right? This is their main thing that they do in house. Like they build their expertise in building chatbots. Now they can build a whole eval system as well if they want to, but that is not their core business. Their core business is building really good support agents, really good chatbot agents. Now there's a different company that is using AI agents to analyze the financial markets and stock markets. That is their core, and that's what they know really, really well. Their core business is not building a whole eval architecture and platform and monitoring and alerts and everything in there. But we work with them to define the what does an eval look like for them. What are the specific metrics that work for them? Work with them in the first setup phase, where we understand their agent, their business requirement, and what we do is basically build evals in a way that they're able to actually quantify and measure the agent fulfilling the given business requirements or not. So the evals will come from them only. The AI company who has made those AI agents, they know the best what their
You're the
agent is supposed to
platform.
do.
Yeah, you're
We
the
are a
platform.
platform. We enable all the things that they would like to do, basically.
But then it's basically each use case by use case you try and solve it. There's even no industry standard eval framework, let's say for health, or there's no eval. It's not set yet, is what I'm assuming.
There are certain metrics that are there which applies to all the agents, like hallucination score or a task completion score or a context relevancy kind of scores are there, which are there. But the more successful AI agents that we have seen need to be monitored if they are fulfilling a certain business use case or not, because that will tell you exactly how good the agent is.
And what's the most common use case you're seeing? I think it's customer support, right?
So fintech and customer support are the two areas where you need to make sure that agents are doing what they're supposed to do at all times. There's also healthcare, which is part of this right now, and they're also building agents for all sort of stuff. But healthcare, the regulatory is a lot more stricter. So they cannot have their agents run free like support agents right now. But yeah, most of the use cases that we are seeing right now would be in fintech and customer support.
And they're all in production out to the customers.
They
Okay, I
all
said.
have 10,000 to 100,000 users per month, kind of that.
And they're batching it, or they're exposing their entire user base to the agents.
It depends on different companies, but usually they expose everybody. Like there is a support agent. Like you go on pretty much any website right now, even if you go on, say, AWS, or you go on GCP, or even, so these are the big companies, right? They have built their own customer support agents. But pretty much everybody right now has transitioned their support to first go to AI and then to humans.
Got it. But some of the customer support agents are not as non-deterministic as we think. They're like nice, sophisticated workflows with
Yes.
LLM.
But everybody is doing full AI agents right now.
Got it. So like I used to spend a lot of time on interpretability because that's one of the biggest barrier in enterprise adoption, right? Because sometimes you don't know why the neural networks have designed to say you don't know what page they've ingested for them to spit out this information. So there is a concept of model drift. So then there is also agent drift, right? Where it just drifts off. How do you control in retrospective? Yes, but in both retrospective and prevention, how do you make sure guardrails,
Hmm.
irrespective if it kind of keeps disobeying,
Hmm.
how do you work through a problem like that for agents?
Yes. So let me explain, maybe for the audience as well, what does this drift mean? It means that your agent is degrading over time slowly. Maybe it is not giving the right answers, and it happens slowly over time that you're not able to identify it in one go.
Give an example. I think it'll make it easier.
Let's take support example only, right? In support, over time, maybe what happened, your customer agent is giving, say, very long answers now, as
Hmm.
compared to, say, and it happens, maybe it is giving a longer answer than it should be doing
Hmm.
as compared to yesterday. Like today, it gave answer of 100 and
Hmm.
you want it to be concise. Next, it became 110 words. Next, it became 130 words. And slowly, slowly over a month, it is giving really long answers, which are not to the point. This happens slowly over time in 30 days, right? We start with 100 words and you reach 2000 words in the end.
Hmm.
And in that scenario, when you talk to your agent every day, right, you will not realize that it has become this way. So that is
Hmm.
a drift example. Not a super good example, but kind of
Yeah,
captures, right?
yeah.
Now, how do we capture that, right? So, to capture these things, you have to quantify the answers in some ways. So, in the given answer itself, you have to find out metadata or metrics out of it. For example, like we can have the answer length as one of the metrics. Then we have the other scores that are hallucination or the resolution rate or whatever are there. So, you
Hmm.
convert the agent task or the trajectory into numbers. And when you convert something into numbers, you can then apply the normal formulas of 2 sigma and standard deviation and difference from the standard deviation and mean over 7 days, 30 days, or a month or 6 months. And you can find if there's a significant difference in the agent behavior over time.
Got it.
That
And
is
it's
a way
always
to,
over time. It's never sudden. Like you never see your agent misbehaving suddenly.
if it's certain, we can figure out, right? Evals will catch it immediately.
I was going to ask you because a follow up question was why do you think this happens? Is what my next, which is I asked you in both sudden
Yeah.
and slow degradation.
See, right now, what happens, right? We are using APIs from OpenAI or
Hmm.
Anthropic or GCP. We don't know what is happening in OpenAI right now. They don't even tell us. And they must be doing deployments every day as well. So they decide the personality of the AI model. If you are a frequent ChatGPT user, you know there's a big difference in the personality of ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 5.
Hmm.
And like people around me, I talk to them, they don't like ChatGPT 5. It's like too controlled in some ways, and it is very careful in what it has to say and things like that. Right. So, and they also do deployments every single day.
Hmm.
So you don't know what is when you're, that is one of the variable you can't control in any way at all. Because of that, your agent's brain is that AI model, LLM. And depending on what is happening on the other side of things, your agent can behave in different ways.
Got it. Yeah, fair. And then let's come to the agent productivity part, where a lot of reports just come out because they're making good headlines by saying, oh, these agents were not productive, or they appear to be busy, but they are actually, And I've also felt this sometimes, and I don't want to take names, but I've talked to these bots, right? Even if they're non-deterministic, it just takes too long by the time the user's already dropped off. Nahi, I want to talk to a human and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So where do we draw the line on whether this is productive or not productive compared to either a human or human plus agent or just agent, but we would expect this for a per dollar investment that we've done.
Yeah. So the if you try to collectively answer for all the AI agents of the world, are they productive or not productive? It
Hmm.
will be very hard to answer that question. If we look at certain, see, it depends on, again, software. Is all software good or all software bad? Is all software helping humans or helping us do things, or it's very hard to answer these questions
So
in a very
all
generic way.
or all humans, some humans come to office and just appear to be busy. They're not actually doing
Yes.
productive work. But we it's very tough to measure it. Even today, human
Yes.
managers, and so it's 100 years of like all the experience, we still can't. Can we fix that from day one in agents is what I'm asking.
Yeah. So see, the companies who have more successful agents, right? They tie their agents to some KPI or some business metric, right? For example, we also have an agent, my company API.market. If you go there, there's a support agent which is there.
Hmm.
And we measure it at the end of the whole chat. The agent asks, was I helpful or not helpful, kind of it.
Hmm.
Right? And we measure that rate. And we are very proud to say that we have over 95% of successful resolutions for our user right now. Very, very successful
No
agent,
human intervention. Okay.
no human intervention. But yeah, it has been trained on 900 of my previous conversation with actual customers over the last 7 months.
Data set is important. A lot of people are struggling because they have no high quality data set to back them, which is why I think enterprise AI should have been ideally more successful considering the kind of data they sit on, but it's not structured. So I hear you.
Yeah, so it's a wide space, right? People don't know what they're supposed to do. Everybody is told, okay, build AI agents.
Hmm.
Then they're building agents without having a clear long term thinking. Okay, what do we do now?
Yeah.
What happens next? How do we, how, what are the metrics where we figure out is the agent successful or a failure? What happens over time? Because see, almost all the agents that I have seen, they tend to get better over time.
Mm-hmm.
They always start worst and they get tend to get better over time because there's a learning curve in there for the agent and for the engineers who have built those agents as well.
Correct.
And you start collecting data and you realize, okay, I need to have this many things in my system prompt. I don't this require in my system prompt, and those kind of things you figure out. Okay, add more context.
Got it.
And one simple thing I'll tell you, which is a huge thing and can help you improve your actually two things I'll tell you, which I've seen of successful AI agents. The first most important thing is context. And as much context as you can give to the agent, the better it is always. Forever. You can give it all the past conversations in the context. You can give it your database schema in the context. You give it as much as you can put in the context, the better your agent will do always. And the second is that don't try to do every single thing in one LLM call. Break it down. Like if you are, for example, analyzing a report and asking it to do a bunch of things, don't ask 5 questions in one LLM prompt. Make it like 3 or 4 or 5 LLM calls, basically.
Yeah. I because I also get people telling me that their token usage expired in a like when they're trying to do all of this, there's a burnout and stuff like that. And I was also like, break it, like do it like you
Yes.
would do with a human, right? They give you the first review, and but yeah, I think that maturity will kick in. What's the most unique use case you've seen of agentic AI so far right now? Either your customer or otherwise, but very useful.
So there is a company, US based. What they do is they put microphones on doctors while they are doing rounds in ICU. So the doctors go to one by one to each person and they basically listen to the conversation that the doctor has given instructions to somebody on, hey, give this person a paracetamol or give this, take the checkup 3 times a day and everything. And they create tasks. The agent create tasks basically and verifies had the nurse got what the doctor has told them in verbally and measures it. And this is like a really amazing use case for agents right now. It's literally saving lives because the doctors don't have much time when they do rounds, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever. And they always give verbal instruction and they write as well sometimes. And the nurses and the attendants are taking notes,
Hmm.
right? And
How
this
do
is
the
literal.
nurses get?
Yes, yes.
Okay, got
The agent will convert the transcription to tasks, which are then actually given to the nurses and they verify if it's correct or not.
pretty cool. Yeah, I found some similar use case in Bangalore. I was hanging out at a cafe, and this person told me he's done the very similar thing, but for shopping, whatever representatives in the malls, in these shops, like branded shops, and then connected to the cloud of that particular brand. I found
Oh,
it pretty cool. I don't know the cost
interesting.
benefit analysis again, but all conversations get recorded, transcribed, and like they're getting pattern matched into what kind of queries come in what kind of stores and stuff like that.
Okay.
I found that pretty good for trend
Interesting.
also, because person will go there and ask, you have this blue kurta, you can identify trends on ground that you cannot do on the internet as easily.
Yeah. I think the total other side of this thing, which is one of my predictions as well, it's not related to agents in any way, it's related to generative AI for image and video. I think 2 years back, I wrote a line where I predicted that there's going to be a movie made entirely using AI. which will cross $100 million by 2030.
Where
And
are we?
yesterday, I saw like it's on Hotstar. There's an entirely AI generated Mahabharat on Hotstar right
Kurukshetra.
now. And I'm like,
Kurukshetra.
wow, it's already happening. No, no, there is a
I saw the first
Mahabharat as
episode.
well. Or yeah, yeah, I saw the first episode, and I think it's made using either VO3, most probably VO3. It looks to me like that, and I'm like, it's happening already.
Yeah.
So
And
that
for
is
all the chat on AI slop, I actually enjoyed the first episode of Kurukshetra. Like I want to watch the whole series. It didn't matter to me if it's AI or no
yes,
AI. I was engaged. I was hooked.
yes, and the second thing about this is that a lot of social media content right now
Hmm.
is actually AI generated, and you cannot distinguish it is AI or not AI.
Yeah,
Especially almost all the cat videos and are not real anymore,
yeah, yeah. Figured.
and you cannot tell in any way at all that it is not AI because see the obvious AI generated content you can tell, it is AI generated, but the other part, right? You just cannot distinguish it from real or fake anymore.
Yeah, which has its own pros and cons. But I hear that it was supposed to be 2030, like you also said, and we're still 2025, and it's already happening.
It's already happened. No, my prediction is like it will cross $100 million basically in box office revenue. Like it will be a super mega hit movie entirely made using AI. Isn't it kind of weird that we were watching this TV show Kurukshetra and none of the actors exist in real life?
Yeah, I was like, and voice also. Actually, some of the voice
Yes.
are also not human voices. Like otherwise, there's a voiceover of a famous actor. Amitabh Bachchan comes in.
Yeah.
Like, someone just comes in, identifiable. And yet, Shashank, I'm telling you, after the first 6 minutes, I forgot that this was AI generated and went with the whole flow of
Yeah.
it. Good
We are
storytelling
humans.
sells. Good
We
storytelling.
are we are humans. We like to be entertained. Whatever entertain us, we are happy to go with the flow with that.
Correct. Okay, last question. What's your advice to startup founders building agentic AI right now? Like, what's the best and the easiest way to get started for them?
See, the first thing is that the barriers to entry are not there anymore in any way possible. If you want to build a whole website or you want to build an agent, you want to build anything, a backend, front end, whatever, it takes a day at max right
Hmm.
now or a few hours of your time. To get MVP in hands of the customer has become extremely easy right now. So the
Hmm.
main focus is the hardest part right now, which has always been the hardest part, is always sales and distribution, right? And since everybody is somehow building something with AI right now. Almost
Hmm.
everybody I see, it's something AI, something
Hmm.
plus AI, something plus AI. That makes the sales distribution really, really hard
Discovery.
because discovery, yes, but actually getting customers and making them pay for what you are selling right now, right? So there is put double emphasis on the sales part first. The product and the building of the software is much more easier now. Like we are like whatever time it took me to, say, example, say build API market, I was able to build Noveum in one third of that time.
Hmm.
And Noveum is a much more harder platform to build than API market. Right? So the barriers of entry are almost negligible. Nothing is there. If you have like you can spend a few thousand rupees per month, you have a team of software engineers at your disposal now. Your MVP will be built basically very easily. You're able to validate pretty fast in the market.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's all sales
Sales and
in the
distribution.
end.
I was going to say, in a world where building is cheap and easy, trust is expensive, I thought you would say evals. I
Of
think
course,
eval is the most important. Like someone reaches
yes.
out to me saying AI ऐसी stuff बनाना है health का, मैं तो पहले eval solve करूँ.
Yes, I totally agree. That's the reason we building Novium, right? That is the reason because we also had agents in production for API market, right? So API market is it's a tiny team which runs the whole entire API market. We handle 4 million API calls. We have now 8,000 B2B global customers across the world and everything. And we run a lot of AI agents for every sort of stuff, from sales marketing to our entire customer support to onboarding new people to uptime. A lot of stuff are basically different AI agents,
Hmm.
and AI agents kept failing.
Hmm.
And we were like, this is annoying. This is really very annoying. And we require a lot of work just to keep the agents running every month. And they would work pretty well locally. You test it rigorously. It works really well. You deploy it and it's supposed to run every day twice. It would run sometimes and not do things that we asked it to. That is the whole reason we started building Novium to fix that problem, to make sure that, see, I'll tell you the other part. Based on the trajectory,
Hmm.
we'll go back to the initial thing why I built Novium.
Hmm.
And it's all first principle thinking. The first part, like I told you, AI models are getting smarter year by year. So we did analysis on that. The models exactly 12 months ago, last year in October, and you compare right now in October 2025, LLMs have improved by over 1000x, not 1000%,
Huh.
1000x right now,
Huh.
while the cost has reduced by 280 times. You can just go and Google GPT 3.5 pricing or GPT 5 pricing or Claude Sonnet pricing and whatever all those pricing you can compare them. And you can also compare the benchmarks over time as well,
Hmm.
which means that if you build an AI agent, it is automatically going to get smarter and cheaper in the future, whatever the cost may be. And by a great deal, not by like 50%, 20%, by 500 or 1000% or like 5000% as well.
Hmm.
That is the first part, which means that there are going to be a large number of AI agents. Based on this thinking, we know that every enterprise by 2030 will have from 50 to 100 AI agents. That is the average number. And to maintain that, if there is no automated evaluation system, you need at least one AI engineer for every 3 or 4 agents, depending on the complexity. So if you need 100 agents, you need to have a team of at least 10 to 15 AI engineers just to manage your agents
Sounds
month over
counterproductive.
month. Exactly. So when we compared all these numbers, it was pretty obvious
Hmm.
that there has to be an AI agent system for the other AI agents.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're going to be a unicorn founder by 2030. I don't know where it is right now, but I see it coming. No, but this was
Thank you for
helpful.
that.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. And
Mhm.
I really appreciated that you were taking the audience along with like simplifying these concepts because they are difficult to, they're very new. They're not difficult, they're new. Thank you so much.
Of course, always it's always fun to talk to you, Kulani, and always love the conversations we have. And yeah, great to be here, and I had a really good time talking to you as well.